Welcome back. We're going to begin with a sample reading from Enoch, chapter 56. And now, my children, lay thought on your hearts. Mark well the words of your Father, which are all come to you from the Lord's lips. Take these books of your Father's handwriting, and read them. For the books are many, and in them you will learn all the Lord's works, all that has been from the beginning of creation, and will be till the end of time. And if you will observe my handwriting, you will not sin against the Lord, because there is no other except the Lord, neither in heaven, nor in earth, nor in the very lowest places, nor in the one foundation. The Lord has placed the foundations in the unknown, and has spread forth heavens visible and invisible. He fixed the earth on the waters, and created countless creatures. And who has counted the water in the foundation of the unfixed, or the dust of the earth, or the sand of the sea, the drops of the rain, or the morning dew, or the wind's breathings? Who has filled earth and sea in the indissoluble winter? I got the stars out of fire, and decorated heaven, and put it in their midst. All this he measured with good measurement of hours, and fixed the measure by his wisdom, of the visible and the invisible. From the invisible he made all things visible, himself being invisible. Thus I make known to you, my children, and distribute the books to your children, into all your generations, and amongst the nations, who shall have the sense to fear God. Let them receive them, and may they come to love them more than any food or earthly sweets, and read them, and apply themselves to them. And those who understand not the Lord, who fear not God, who accept not, but reject, who do not receive the books, a terrible judgment awaits these. Blessed is the man who shall bear their yoke, and shall drag them along, for he shall be released on the day of the great judgment. I swear to you, my children, but I swear not by any oath, neither by heaven, nor by earth, nor by any other creature which God created. The Lord said, There is no oath in me, nor injustice, but truth. If there is no truth in men, let them swear by the words yea, yea, or else nay, nay. And I swear to you, yea, yea, that there has been no man in his mother's womb, but that already before, even to each one, there is a place prepared for the repose of the soul, and a measure fixed how much it is intended that a man be tried in this world. Yea, children, deceive not yourselves, for there has been previously prepared a place in eternity for every soul of man. At that time, not understanding this, let these books which I have given you be for an inheritance of your peace. Hand them to all who want them, and instruct them, that they may see the Lord's very great and marvelous works. And I want the globists to see this, and the flat earthers too. Blessed is he who blesses all the Lord's works. Cursed is he who brings the Lord's creation into contempt. That's an easy way to win an argument with a triggered globist. In canon, Enoch first appears in Genesis 5, verse 18 through 24. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And then again in Hebrews 11, beginning at verse 5. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he had pleased God. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And then the famous verse in Jude 14, which is what Enoch is famous for, is being given the message to the fallen angels, their sentence, which they are currently under and awaiting their punishment. Jude 14 reads, "And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment on all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaks great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage." That is essentially the end of canon in terms of Enoch's name coming up, literally. But as you go through the book of Enoch, you realize that from his words came, derived like 80% of the New Testament and the Old Testament. His book, it has 366 books in it. It describes the sun, the earth, man. For example, this work here that you're looking at before I leave it is done by Trey Smith. And you've read that while you're listening to me. Trey Smith does God in the Nutshell. Oh, I think I went. Who here smartly depicts how Enoch came out of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which gives them their veracity. God in the Nutshell project is where he does all these videos, and they are very sharp. But we'll get to all that. What we're really doing here today is getting at the invisible God and how this phrase connects Enoch to Jesus. Now, it is said, well, let's just go through some more on Enoch. Enoch was born on the 6th day of the month of Sivan and lived 365 years. He was taken up to heaven on the 1st day of the month of Sivan and remained in heaven 60 days. He wrote all these signs of all creation which the Lord created, and wrote 366 books, and handed them over to his sons, and remained on earth 30 days, and was again taken up to heaven on the 6th day of the month of Sivan, and on the very day and very hour he was born. So God's got this neat little take you up, take you down when you're born timing. As every man's nature in this life is dark, so are also his conception, birth, and departure from this life. At whatever hour he was conceived, at that hour he was born, and at that hour too he died. And now, my children, keep your souls from all injustice, such as the Lord hates. Walk before his face with terror and trembling, and serve him alone. Bow down to the true God, not to dumb idols, but bow down to the true living God, and bring all just offerings before the Lord's face. The Lord hates what is unjust. For the Lord sees all things when man takes thought in his heart. Then he counsels the intellects, and every thought is always before the Lord, who made firm the earth, and put all creatures on it. If you look to heaven, the Lord is there. If you take thought of the seas deep and all the under earth, the Lord is there. For the Lord created all things. Bow down not to things made by man, leaving the Lord of all creation, because no work can remain hidden before the Lord's face. Walk, my children, in long-suffering, in meekness, honesty, in provocation, in grief, in faith and in truth, in reliance on promises, in illness, in abuse, in wounds, in temptation, in nakedness, in privation, loving one another, till you go out from this age of ills, that you become inheritors of endless time. Blessed are the just who shall escape the great judgment. for they shall shine forth more than the sun sevenfold. For in this world the seventh part is taken off from all: light, darkness, food, enjoyment, sorrow, paradise, torture, fire, frost, and other things. He put all down in writing, that you might read and understand. When Enoch had talked to the people, the Lord sent out darkness onto the earth, and there was darkness, and it covered those men standing with Enoch. And they took Enoch up onto the highest heaven where the Lord is, and he received him, placed him before his face. And the darkness went off from the earth, and light came again. And people saw and understood not how Enoch had been taken, and glorified God, and found a roll in which was traced, the invisible God. And all went to their homes. Sidestep background a little bit. Enoch was born, this one here, I believe, which is the new year in the Jewish calendar. Now, if you notice, 6 months away from that would be April 1st, which is what generally we understand to be is April's Fool's Day, which is the devil's New Year. So that kind of gives us some lines through, because if this is the first prophet of God, then he has him born on the 6th day of the first month in his calendar. So how I got here this morning, going through my Heart Bible, studying with the Lord, and I was shown Colossians 1, and it's the very end of the chapter. It speaks of the invisible God, which always reminds me of the note that Enoch left when he was taken away and raptured in October. It's currently May. Beginning at verse 12, Colossians 1. Giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light.
Who has delivered us from the power of darkness, and has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, or dominions, or principalities, or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. The names given by God create prophecies, predicting Jesus. Man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down, teaching. His death shall bring the despairing comfort and rest. And you can see Enoch's name has its place there as the teacher. And this is why we call Jesus the man of sorrow, and that's why blues music is all about Jesus. Enoch is related to getting it all right in the heavens and the earth. So I wanted to bring 2 Kings 23:5. This is when one of the kings of the tribes of Israel made things right. In one of the long histories, they always do this, goes back and forth. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. And that's why Enoch's coming out now, because we're sitting here worshiping Baal, B-A-A-L, the sun god, and we're sitting here worshiping the same things they always did, worshiping stars and planets. And what's going to bring us back to the truth? The living Word of God. So this is why Enoch is a prophet for the last days, the first and the last. And I think it's going to be him that comes back with Isaiah to spit fire during the tribulation. He's someone you want to pay attention to. The Word of God always brings back the truth. The truth will set you free. Maranatha.